This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. An article recently came out called Elon Musk's Vision for a Libertarian Utopia. And if you're not paying attention to what's going on, the New World Order's plans are going exactly the way they expected it to. They've put somebody bought, owned, and controlled like Donald Trump in power, thinking that he's going against the deep state. And right in front of your faces, you could literally see all of the World Economic Forum's agendas coming to fruition. And it's all happening through Donald Trump and Elon Musk, even before they get into office. Because like I've been saying, the blueprint for the New World Order is AI governance. And all these stories you hear about how Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going to fire people on day one, how they're going to get rid of certain sectors of government because they're no longer needed, is because they're going to be replacing it with AI. And everybody out there is only paying attention to things that seem to be in their benefit, because when everybody hears less government, they say, yes, less government, because all the government's been doing the last couple of years is overreaching beyond belief. All they've been doing is telling you what you should do, what you can and cannot say, and what you need to put inside of your body. So everybody's at a point where they're saying, yeah, less government would probably be better. And they've put stories like how the IRS are hiring more IRS agents to go after the middle class. By design, they put those stories out there so that you ask for all these government agencies who you feel like are coming after you to be dissolved. But they're not going to be dissolved. They're just going to be replaced with artificial intelligence. And one of the stories that's out there that people need to pay attention to is this story about a libertarian utopia, because Elon Musk is going to be one of these guys who brings about smart cities. He's going to be one of these people that brings about company towns. This is not a Democrat-Republican thing. This is a globalist agenda. And Donald Trump will just market these things as freedom cities, where Democrats will call them smart cities. If you haven't noticed, Jeff Bezos, he's committed $400 million for urban green space, with $50 million for 5 cities. Bill Gates, these are names that nobody is comfortable with. Well, these are people who are beginning the development of smart cities. And you know who else is beginning the development of a utopian city? Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk has purchased land in Texas. He's been purchasing it for a few years now, going back to when he was openly a Democrat. But now that he's a Republican, conservatives don't seem to care anymore that he has plans to build a company town. And I'm going to get into all this stuff in detail, what's going on in Snailbrook. But here, take a look for yourself and start thinking to yourself about the American corporation and how more and more jobs are going to become obsolete, how we're going to give jobs over to tech. And if all these big tech companies are buying up massive amounts of land and starting cities, well, when there's no jobs left, you're going to be forced to live in these dystopian cities that they're going to call utopian cities, because you won't have anywhere to work, and you'll be paying rent, and you'll be living under the control of the corporation, which technically is what we do now in America. But take a look, if you haven't seen yet, at what Elon Musk is up to in Texas.
If you'd like to live in Elon Musk's proposed Utopia town, get a job at one of his companies, and you could become the newest resident of Snailbrook. According to the Wall Street Journal, Elon Musk companies have purchased roughly 3,500 acres of land near Austin, Texas, over the past 3 years. The land is adjacent to Musk-owned company facilities currently under construction. Musk employees have described it as a Texas utopia where his workers can live for cheaper rent. Musk has a tunnel operation company called Boring, and employees there were able to apply for houses being rented out at $800 a month. There is a stipulation, though. If you're fired or leave the company, you've got 30 days to vacate. The so-called Snailbrook Utopia apparently is an exclusive community for Musk employees. The site already includes modular homes, a pool, a sports rec center, according to people familiar with the town who spoke to the Post. While no papers have been filed with the county to apply for an official town status, employees on the inside say Snailbrook has real potential. Employees said there was a meeting held last year to discuss the town's credentials. They need 201 residents. Then they would have to hold an election for mayor, which means of the many titles Musk has, Mayor Musk could be in the near future.
So how does that look for a dystopian hell? If you're an employee of the company, you live in the company town, you pay rent still to live in the company town, but if you lose your job, if you're not compliant one day at work or you're not agreeing with something that's being done and you lose your job, not only do you lose your job, you lose your home as well. And this is what these tech billionaires are building out. They're building out these futuristic new cities, just like the one you saw in Snailbrook, which people have tried to get inside, and it's very difficult to get inside. It has its own massive security team that keeps people outside of what they're building in Snailbrook. But if you read between the lines, it says located 35 miles from Austin, Snailbrook is currently under construction. The settlement is envisioned as a self-contained community with modern infrastructure and facilities tailored to the needs of the residents. As of early 2023, reports indicated that the town had already attracted a small population of 12 inhabitants. And it's more than that now, as Elon Musk has since then really moved most of his company from California to Texas, saying that's because of all the liberal policies in California, even though he's been a liberal and an atheist his entire life. Now he's moving his companies there, so you can expect these things to expand. But it says Musk's Texas Utopia project reflects a growing trend of tech companies expanding their presence in the Lone Star State. The entrepreneur's decision to establish this planned community near Austin aligns with his recent moves to relocate some of his business operations to Texas, while the full scope and timeline of the Snailbrook development remains to be seen. It represents a unique experiment in corporate-driven urban planning. And this is what they call a company town, which they may as well call a communist dictatorship, because a company town is probably a term you haven't heard in quite some time. And there's a lot of people out there who are young who have never heard the term. So let me explain what a company town is. The company town is a community where nearly all aspects of life, including housing, stores, law enforcement, are controlled by a single company that employs most residents. While communism is a political and economic system aiming for a classless society with collective ownership and property, meaning that in a company town, the company effectively acts as a mini state with significant control over its workers' lives, sharing some similarities with the concept of a communist state in terms of centralized control, though without the ideological basis of classless equality that communism strives for. Essentially, a company town is a capitalist microcosm with a high degree of corporate power over its residents, while communism is a political system seeking to eliminate private ownership and establish a collective society. Well, the reality here is that while they say there's differences between a communist state and a company town, there really aren't, especially when we start thinking about one of those things that Elon Musk supports more than anybody, which he gets away with. He gets a free pass because most conservatives don't even know that he is a very, very big advocate for universal basic income. And in a company town, if there's a universal basic income and the company resides over the schools, the law enforcement, the housing, the stores, then it is technically, with an equal income, a communist hellhole. And even in this company town, I mentioned schools. Elon Musk's company town is getting a school, which I'm sure will be run and controlled by artificial intelligence. Another word that's important to note is the term collective society, because Elon Musk has made it very, very clear that he is all about the collective consciousness, the hive mind, even tweeting out X as humanity's collective consciousness. And that's exactly what this would be under a communist company rule, of course, being marketed to you as a futuristic type of cities. So where are we headed with this, where we see Bezos, Gates, Musk starting company towns? Well, think about these other stories that are out there. All these CEOs, whether it's the creator of LinkedIn or the founder of LinkedIn or any of these big tech giants, they've talked about how most jobs are going to be obsolete by 2035, 2034. Jobs are going to become obsolete. And in order to have a job as a human being, you might have to work in one of these company towns because there won't be jobs. Have you noticed the monopoly that all these big corporations have over everything? Amazon, you could buy everything from your groceries to your clothes. Amazon's now doing Medicine One. They're doing medicine deliveries as well. They also serve as a pharmacy, right? You could get everything on Amazon. So what does that mean? Well, it means that a lot of independent places go out of business, for starters, which we've already seen since the outbreak. Then it means more chains start to go out of business, more grocery chains, because people are getting everything at their one and done shop, whether it's Amazon or they actually go out and do it at Walmart. But everything is happening in one place. And that means jobs will become more and more scarce. Elon Musk has predicted that a universal high income will be necessary when artificial intelligence replaces humans in the workforce. And that's what the AI governance is. They've done everything deliberately over the last decade or so to make you not trust politicians, which we see. We know conservatives don't trust any Democrats in power. In fact, they loathe them. And the same for Democrats. They can't stand any of these characters they see out of the Republican Party, from Ted Cruz to Matt Gaetz to Lauren Boebert, all deliberately done. So then they come in and they say, we're going to clean this mess up. Washington's a mess. Your tax money is getting burnt. So of course people are going to go, what are they doing with my tax money? Well, they're probably trying to put diversity, equity, and inclusion in. And people are going, this is ridiculous. I thought my tax money went towards roads or towards schools. Well, it's going towards schools, but they're giving your kids books telling your kids that all white people are racist. So by design, people are infuriated and want government restructure, which is why they did all of that. If they didn't do those things and they just came in and said, hey, we're changing the government, we're putting in government AI structure from now on, people would go, absolutely not. Everything's fine. Why would we do that? So, of course, they've had to cause all of this chaos by design. And Elon Musk is the face of artificial intelligence. He's the one who is now telling you that sooner or later you're going to have an Optimus robot inside of your home that could babysit your kids, right? So he's the one who has this DOGE program, this Department of Government Efficiency program, who's going to replace humans with AI. And he's even saying that in order for humanity to survive, in order for us to survive as a human race, that we're going to have a universal basic income. Elon Musk predicts jobs will become obsolete. He foresees a high universal income that will act as an equalizer. One of the biggest champions of universal basic income is Elon Musk, who expects it to become necessary when robots evict humans from their jobs. But of course, he'll come out and say he's a hero, because he'll say, well, his place, even though he's one of the people who founded AI and, of course, distracted people and made people realize that, well, AI is here so you can make memes and you could do fun stuff. And people didn't even realize that we shouldn't have allowed it to be put in place in the first place, that we should have had laws in place to prevent this from happening, because there's nothing good that comes out of it. So what do they tell you the good is that comes out of it? They tell you, well, it's going to do a lot in the medical field. Look, it's saving people's lives. People who are paralyzed are no longer paralyzed. People who are blind can now see. And everyone goes, okay, I guess we have to accept this, right? Because a couple blind people can now see in black and white all of a sudden because of the Neuralink and other AI devices that they're creating. And we have to move forward with it. Well, Elon Musk tells you, well, AI is going to replace you in a couple of weeks, and nobody seems to care. They don't care because all they see is Elon Musk jumping on stage next to Donald Trump, because they can't think for 5 seconds independently without, of course, being told what to think and what to react to. So everyone's celebrating what's going on. They think it's the end of the deep state New World Order. In fact, this is the beginning of the establishment of the New World Order infrastructure. So Elon Musk, again, is talking about how universal basic income will be in place. It needs to be in place. And he'll probably somehow deceive these people into thinking, well, I'll still have human beings working for me in my company town. You can come live here. You know, you'll make, everyone makes $2,000 a month. You pay $1,000 in rent to live on the property. If you get fired, you're homeless. So you better listen to what we say. Remember when we talk about behavioral control? That's right. You better be listening. Huh? And, your groceries, by the end of the month, you'll be working for zero, but you'll have a roof over your head and you'll be thanking me for it, right? When in reality, we should be stopping them now from going any further with it. In fact, there's articles out there about Elon Musk's 8 best quotes about UBI. And of course, if you read some of the quotes, he says it's going to be necessary over time, that most humans' jobs will be replaced. There should be a universal basic income that doesn't change. Even if you get a job, productivity should be rewarded, which is exactly what he's promoting now. He says things like, I'm in favor of universal basic income. Goal of government should be to maximize the happiness of the people. Giving each person money allows them to decide what meets their needs. And of course, they also dictate what the price is of things. So you could define that quote any way you want. When they say, well, what meets their needs? Well, when all of a sudden milk, you get $100 a month from the government and universal basic income, and it's $20 for milk because your carbon footprint isn't, you got to follow the carbon footprint laws. So you can, if you're going to get a steak, you get one steak, it's $80. And you got to go, okay, well, at least I can have the steak, right? Instead of realizing what these people have tricked you into allowing. And of course, when I say that about the carbon footprint, who else is an advocate of a carbon tax? Well, Elon Musk is. The only action needed to solve climate change is a carbon tax. And the carbon tax, for the millionth time, when you hear people talk about it and what a nightmare it is beyond a nightmare. But what a lot of people forget with the carbon tax is that once universal basic income is in place, you're talking about living on an allotted allowance that the government gives you, and then them dictating the price of goods based on a carbon footprint, okay? So when you hear carbon tax, everyone just thinks, oh my gosh, now they're gonna add a little tax, like 25 cents every time I buy gas, because it's fuel, they're gonna add a little tax. That's gonna come out, I gotta pay more money for this and that, yes. But when we get to the point, which is soon, which is in the next decade, where more and more people are replaced by AI, the carbon footprint gets put in place. And the carbon tax is nothing more than this is what your footprint is for the month, and you're taxed on what you buy. So in other words, if they tell you that it's really bad for the environment to eat steak, then they'll make it very highly priced. And while you might be able to get one steak once a month, right, you won't be able to get much more. So you'll probably say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get steak, because if I get steak, then I can't get milk because that comes from a cow too, or I can't get eggs because it comes from a chicken. You see how all this entire thing works? And what's most frightening about it, to me, well, everything's frightening about it, but when you pay attention to what these clowns are saying, like Trump and Musk, they constantly are talking about DEI, right? And of course, DEI is ridiculous. A program, if you don't know what DEI is, it's the program that aims to create a more inclusive workplace by hiring a diverse workforce, which means they're literally hiring people, if they're gay or whatever the color, if they're black, based on no skill set whatsoever, which is of course insane, because then you just put people who are not qualified in positions of power based on their race or based on what they like to do in the bedroom at night, right? So then you think about how companies work, and you need companies to be productive, and it just it's insanity is what it is. You shouldn't be hiring people based on that. You should be hiring people who are based on who the best fit for the job is, because if the job and what the company's trying to achieve is actually make money and profit, then you'd want to hire the best people, no matter what their skin color is. So maybe it would be the black person you interview is more qualified than the white person, then hire them. That's the way that the world works when everyone's thinking sanely. But of course, they've brainwashed people into thinking insanely, thinking that you're not getting hired for this job because your skin color, and that person's not getting hired because they have blue hair, right? And people are going, oh, that's not fair, right? But all Elon Musk does is talk about DEI and Trump and how insane it is. So sane people obviously get lured in more because they're like, it is insane. It is ridiculous. But DEI and UBI are literally almost the same thing. While DEI defines race and defines, inclusiveness in the workplace, UBI is a government program that provides a monthly cash payment to all members of a community without eligibility requirements, right? So that means whatever skin color you are, you'll be allowed to get UBI. Whatever you like to do in the bedroom, you'll be allowed to. It's literally almost the same thing. The only difference is that, well, UBI is literally the government giving you money. You don't actually have to work, where DEI is they hire people based on discriminating clearly against white people. So while Elon Musk talks about those things, everyone's excited because, like, let's get rid of DEI. But is anyone paying attention to the fact that Elon Musk is talking about a carbon tax? Well, Elon Musk is talking about the fact that sooner or later in the next decade, we're all going to need universal basic income because no one's going to have jobs, while he's doing what? While he's building out company towns, which is another term for a smart city where you can live in it if you work in it. And guess who the mayor of Psychoville is? It's Elon Musk. And when Jeff Bezos has his, he'll be the president of his city. He'll be the mayor of his city, whatever they want to call it. Right? Bill Gates will be. And of course, you have to be insane to go into these cities, you would say. But what about when they start taking jobs away because we've allowed artificial intelligence to exist? What about then? What about then? Well, you'll say, well, maybe I'll have universal basic income. Well, they're going to force you into these cities one way or the other. Whether it's a Bezos city, a Musk city, whether it's a freedom city. This is what the future looks like. And everybody has been so gaslit, so distracted, talking about such pointless issues that make absolutely no sense, that literally we're debating if people should castrate themselves. When 20 years ago, if you were told that somebody was openly trying to turn themselves into John Bobbitt, that they were trying to castrate themselves, you would say they're trying to do that on their own. Oh, well, let's call the paddy wagon, because that would be the definition of trying to get put in, an insane asylum. And now we actually allow the government to talk about these issues as if they're issues while they're doing all this stuff around us and no one's paying attention. Establishing smart cities, establishing AI governance, because all they're doing is admitting to what they're doing, but nobody's reading between the lines because all they hear is less government. Yeah. They love their phones. They love their tech. They don't realize who's programming the tech, right? They're like, well, who cares? Let Elon Musk program the AI governance. He's a proponent for free speech. Is he? Is he? It's amazing how many people I know that have gone over to X who tell me that they're completely censored or removed from the platform if they talk about topics like this channel talks about. But of course, it's the people who buy into the left-right that he's playing into. It's the conservative channels that have been removed, which really haven't been removed. They took Alex Jones off deliberately for that, to go over to other platforms, to make everyone else follow suit and not stay on this platform and not continue to fight on this platform or any popular platform, right? X is they talk about it being a proponent for free speech. It's free speech for conservatives, just like YouTube and these other platforms are free speech for Democrats. So there's no real freedom being given, because if you're of the opposite political belief, they will silence you. And that's exactly what they're doing by design. And they're going to set these company towns up, these communist hellhole dystopias up under Democratic or Republican rule. And it's really just going to be under globalist rule, because you're not going to know who's programming the AI, and it's going to constantly change. And their grip on you is just going to constantly get worse and worse and worse when they're trying to convince you that you're going to have freedom. And it's worked already. Part of the American experiment was convincing people in America that they had freedom, right? Oh, you can go to the grocery store, you could choose, right? Then you realize, wait a minute, the same company owns all the food. The same companies own, brand A versus brand B. So I'm still buying from the same company. Wait a minute, the ingredients are the same. It's just a different logo on it. That's the illusion of freedom. And people are going to continue to think if they go to, slave city A or slave city B, Bezos, Gates, maybe Musk, smart city, Trump's freedom city, right? That there's, I'm making the choice, right? Yeah, pick your slavery. Enjoy which one you pick. But remember, it's only a matter of time before a light bulb's going to go off in your head and you're going to realize exactly what's going on. So why wait for that to happen when it's too late? Let the light bulb go off now and wake up to what's going on. AI governance being built out right in front of our faces. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.